Okay. So we are from Nehru also Bharat. So like to introduce. Good. Thank you. Sir, we read your profile that you have coordinated many conferences on Vedic sciences, and you have coordinated many people who are doing the research on Vedic sciences and Vedic topics. So you have directly involved in this particular part of, like reviving our Vedic tradition.
Yeah.
And taking back the country into its proper position.
Yes.
So can you tell us two points about your journey to our people?
Yeah. When we think of a journey, there has to be a starting point. The starting point was from where I started asking myself about the great heritage of our great country, and my exposure to the heritage, thank God, though I belong to Karnataka, native of Karnataka, and I was brought up in Kerala. So the cultural background which I was exposed to in Kerala was such that it made me develop a sensibility to appreciate what is still living in the culture, and also go for those areas which are blank, where to get the material to fill in, what are the missing links. This made me to go in search for real, genuine masters who are living examples, but who are not in the limelight, who do not want to come to the media and get exposed to the artificial life. They are shining in their own life and silently contributing to the perpetuation of our culture. So in that I took my journey in that direction. And to cut short the story, I lived 14 years as a wandering person, a wandering seeker. And during this journey, I entered many institutions and learned many things, and perhaps unlearned many things, because I thought it could be like this, in search of the genuine, but I found many things which are not really so. And I came out of institution. In the process, I found myself to be getting prepared for a great mission of getting back to the mainstream of the Vedic tradition myself, and thereby helping our generation to come back to the mainstream of our Vedic way of life. And here what I want to point out is that Foundation for Indian Scientific Heritage, which the acronym is FISH, and this took shape during the course of my coordinating the first international conference on decoding Veda Vidya and the traditional resources for rediscovering Indian scientific heritage. That was in Udupi in 2011, in the month of January. And then I had to interact with scientists with our traditional background and traditional scholars who have got modern science background, and thereby we could get number of scholars for presenting their concepts and their findings on a platform in Udupi. And then I was inspired to register an institution with an innovative research initiative into Vedic science. And thank God we have a Google group where around 500 members are receiving the mail on the discussions of various topics related to Indian scientific heritage. This is in brief the activities that are at present going on. And I have developed the first floor of my own residence for the purpose of accommodating real research enthusiasts who can be supported and guided for searching into the roots of our Indian resources. and that's how Foundation for Indian Scientific Heritage has got its registered office in my own residence. So this is in brief about the journey, and the journey keeps going. It is on. And on the way, I met the trustees of Dharma Jagrati Trust Bangalore and Krishnamurti Dinapati and his family. And we have discovered a common platform for acting together. And the story goes with the inner voice of God, which you have provided.
Yes.
So,
yes, I would say, like, in order to bring many enthusiasts, who want to come into the, like, who can come here and study or do research, do you think is there enough foundation being laid for them to become a research associate or research people in this particular field?
see, one thing is that what is prevailing in the popular parlance called research, that is not at all the kind of research our foundation is interested in. To put it this way, getting some funds for finance for the research and generating some material and some printout, and that goes to some library, or the thing is at that level and nothing further is done, and it is forgotten. Then go for another funding agency, and this kind of research we are not interested in. What we have to do is, what we are meditating on to achieve is, we have to do some substantial work which will be useful to the common man, which will reach the grassroots level of the society. And that kind of research, it basically has to have a research methodology which is in fact a basic research methodology which is not readily available. So I am working on bringing together various aspects that are scattered all over our resources, basic resources, traditional texts, or other resources of local traditional wisdom. With all that, what I wanted to work on and working on is the experiential learning and performance research. This is technically the Upasana. So Vedic Upasana is nothing but experiential learning. It does not search for a laboratory external and a lot of gadgets and a lot of funding. Basically, it is making use of our own mind potential and the living laboratory that is the physical body, and it is connectivity with the cosmos, and it is through this channel, which is neither in vitro nor in vivo, it is through the spiritual interior. So the spiritual interior is such a large, vast space where a lot of things are there, but we need to develop the sensitivity to perceive and download rather those information which we can apply. So here I would like to tell one thing, that whatever is called Veda, it's a large body of knowledge, but it has got an application aspect, and that is Tantra, which is misinterpreted and which is condemned. Tantra is black magic, Tantra is this, blah blah. That is absolutely wrong. Tantra is technology, and the Vedic technology does not advocate external things, developing external things, but it is essentially discovering the resources within. So that it is basically not human resources development, it is spiritual resources development. It is a step ahead of HR. So that's what I say.
Okay, right now you can see that India is a hub of communities, and many people, many communities, like many so-called Dharmic people are there. So why is it not a proper word when all believers in the Vedic tradition, which is the base of this country? Why is it not happening that a platform where all these people come and gather together and start working as a united force? So what is it? What can be the main point which is stopping this particular thing?
Yeah. It's really, really crucial to think in this direction, because what prevents coming on the common platform is, one, individual ego and institutional ego, these two factors are preventing. Then, the priorities of different institutions are different, and unless they come to a common thread, a common conception, the discovery of a need, what actually is a national need, what actually is a global need, for human beings, I mean. Yes, when we speak about global need and humanity, the nationality and patriotism do not come into picture. But that does not mean that we should lose our identity as Indians. Yes, rather Bharatiya. So Indian is an outsider term, which outsiders have named us. But we are Bharatiya. And Bharatiya means one who revels in knowledge. Bhai is life. Rati is the rejoicing. So unless is discovered by the various institutions, Swamis and yoga centers, whatever you call it, what is going on in the name of spirituality, it hasn't got relevance in the contemporary context. What the country is suffering from, what the citizens should be given. To put it in one word, it should be for rediscovering the great heritage of the nation so that the citizens can become an enlightened citizen. So we need to have that education, which is not classroom bound. We may require a classroom, we may require even a tree under which we can sit and communicate, but it is not a well-bound class for teaching. That has to change. And this change, if all people, all these institutions recognize with a common goal, the transformation or the change can happen, within no time. But certainly, a time will come when all these different mutually isolated units and groups will come to realize that yes, this should have been the common goal, and this should have been the platform where labeling is not important, a kind of commercial identity is not important. It should be non-commercial, totally dedicated and result-oriented, and ultimately it should be living in harmony with nature as the Vedic spirit used to do.
We have observed that India having such a strong background of many centuries together for being Vedic tradition being followed, but because of invasion what happened, Mughal invasion or the British invasion,
yes.
So we were unable to resist to the not only economically and by power, we also lost our cultural. There happened cultural degradation also to our country. We are unable to fight back to the cultural invasion what has happened in India.
Yes.
So why we fail, even though we are having a strong basic background, which is our culture and which stood as our discipline, why that particular discipline was, in us, was not able to resist the invasion?
Yes. Here, going by the available history would be a deception, because we do not have the real history of the country. Indians have not written Indian history. It is manufactured in England or elsewhere. So we have to, if we go by, it is wrong to say that India gained independence in 1947. India was a sovereign country, it was a great nation, it has been a great nation before the invasion. And to look back and say that we have gained sovereignty for over a period of 65 years, we are free, that itself is a deception. So we have to look back much into our antiquity, and we have sufficient proof, archaeological proof. We have got sufficient ancient centers which are still living today, and our generation will have to be given an exposure to these centers and to feel that in spite of these, if we have failed to resist, what could be the reason? The reason could be only There is all wiring, everything is available in this structure, and power also is connected. But why the lights are not on? If you ask the question, there is a fuse. Possibility is that the fuse is not placed or the fuse is blown. So invaders, they have very cleverly, cunningly blown the fuses of our centers and made us dark and ignorant of ourselves, our strength, and they have eaten. But now that we know we are in dark, itself is the beginning of light. Once a madman starts thinking that is he mad or not, he has started sanity. So we are at this juncture, we can perhaps put it that way, that we have started feeling why so. Definitely there is a solution. And towards the solution, we have to work. That is why going back to our ways of living. And the key areas are agriculture, cattle care, and our disciplines like IVB, Veduveda, Sapatya and Dhanurveda, which these four Upavedas can be rightly utilized for harnessing the potential of our country and the youth. So I have come to the solution rather than giving you the answer for why we failed. Looking back and worrying about why we failed in darkness is of no use. Now our effort is ought to be search for light and then go towards light. So we are going towards light.
My question is that, nowadays we also a lot of youth are not much towards this particular point called, basic studies and all.
Yes.
There are fewer that we don't get jobs, we don't have our own survival. And many youth, feel that they are not getting their answers and they are not interested. And moreover, how can this particular, way of education will be incompetent or will be incompetent in the present situation? Say like everyone nowadays are going to US, for their higher education or for any sake or getting away from all their culture and whatever it is from the background and getting into the so-called modern education, the modern jobs. So in this kind of environment and situation seems to be going much worse. So in such kind of environment, what can be the possibilities that our revival to tell that our revival has started?
Now, we have to look at it from various angles. Like, modern youth not being interested in the traditional cultural ways of living is because lack of correct exposure and scientific analysis and communication regarding the worth and value of that kind of a life.
Okay.
And in the absence of this, something more attractive and something more fascinating is presented before them, which is coming from the West. And the delusion is more interesting and absorbing than the real. So, unless the real is given, this will continue to satisfy them. And they are going for US, for ramification, etc. And that is all because of the fantasy created. Now take the case of those who have gone in the 50s and 60s abroad, and those who have their family there. And when they observe their children and their behavior, it is they who are feeling that our children have lost the roots of their culture, so what should we do? So such parents are, the population of such parents are more in number now. So they are searching for something which they can give to their children. And Hinduism taught, etc. There are many such attempts teaching Hinduism to the children abroad there, giving them the picture of our festivals, celebrations, the meaning, etc. But it is all drawing a picture on a canvas and taking it to the dark room without the playing it. They have to have real living atmosphere for which an ambience is to be created. And that is the attempt of which and IVB and the like-minded organization, it is very essential that we have to come together on a common platform so that this is realized earlier and we come to the grassroots level of action. We need to be proactive. And the discussion is the beginning to that kind of proactiveness. This is what I think.
Regarding the, as I said, mentioned Vedic science, regarding this particular subject, what we can see that even NASA is experimenting on many of our scriptures like Ramakrishna Sharam or even the metallurgical sciences. We are thoroughly studying, and even there are few reports which state that Hitler has sent his spies and stolen many of our scriptures, to Germany during World War, and they were able to make it. When we have such a kind of technology or the sciences, so why is it not, even after getting freedom, those experiments are not done in our laboratories? So what can be the reasons, like, whether West was able to do it? So what do you find that, why the West was able to do it, and why our institutions, government institutions, say ISRO or NAS or HAM, why they have failed in attempting this kind of efforts, so that successfully we can go ahead and as well as we can show that we are scientifically much forward.
The simple straight answer to this question may not be possible because of the complexity of the situation. Because our centers of sciences are made to fail. They were blocked by Western interests abroad, and so that they can do it there, they say that Vedas are bird song. That is what they say, coming here, conducting Atirasaya like Kerala, Sprit talk. He said Vedas are meaning the bird song. But they are using the same Veda and vibrations there to find out anti-gravity forces functioning or working and things like that. So that is their strategy. And right from the beginning, pre-independent era, to call it quote-unquote, depending upon the British concept of our freedom, the pre-independent era, is the example of Calcutta, who was successful in having a flight, and we could fly as high as 1,500 feet high, but he was poisoned. And you find many examples where their attempts are either thwarted or they were terminated. So what we have to tell our youth is that, look here, in spite of the potential that we have, if we are not able to develop them into R&D, it is all because of lack of will, lack of dedication, lack of interest. Finance is the last thing. Because there can be finance, there can be funding, but nothing can move unless the research is in the right direction. So what is lacking is dedication, efforts in the right direction, and proper research methodology. And we don't require external gadgets. We don't require NASA lab to be installed here. We need only our body, mind, and intellect. If it is properly tuned, any knowledge can manifest. Because basically every knowledge is within. It has to only manifest.
Okay. I said that youth have to focus on these particular things, and you also mentioned that you are also involved in many conferences, in fact, conducting successfully, and you are able to bring many scientists and scholars together and able to conduct. There have been many conferences. Why is it? There is no a constituted, a combined effort exactly for any strategy to be built to go or to face the problem and solve it. Is there anything like, do you find anything like that? Because there happen many Vedic science conferences every year, and it keeps happening also, but there is no proper practical result. So what I mean, these part of points are absolutely demoralizing youth to get into this kind of thing. So what can be your view on this? What exactly we have to do?
Yes, exactly. What we have to do and really do is that provide mathematical models which an intelligent youth can understand. Then provide applicability, verifiable, repeatable applications if we can present. that will help them to regain the confidence. There are many reports, could be hearsay, reports online that so-and-so has created a machine for detecting the prana vibrations, etc., etc. I have contacted a few. They have their cosmic vibrators, cosmic divinizers, things like that. Okay. So these are names, and there are cloud claims. What we have to do is, we have to bring them to the platform and put them straight questions between the eyebrows, hit between, and get the exact answers and the demonstration.
Yes.
And say, for example, in the field of Ayurveda, the crucial question I used to ask, but not answered, is that unlike the modern medicine system, where creating a new medicine means testing it on rabbits, rats, monkeys, and animals, and then coming to a human victim or a human subject. Such a thing is never reported and seen in the traditions of Ayurveda. How come they could identify the disease and identify the right medicine? And that too, this right medicine is not a labeled medicine for one and all for the same disease. It is one-on-one, and the local Ayurveda physician he administers the medicine according to the individual needs of the individual body. Now, can we revive this system? It is possible, provided our modern Ayurveda students are ready to undergo the discipline required, not using English dictionary to find the meaning of Sanskrit terms, but learning Sanskrit, thinking in Sanskrit, and feeling Sanskrit, and then getting into the core of it. It is possible. Then it is possible. So it is not. It will be a too simplified statement that we can achieve everything. It needs tremendous effort. And we are in the lookout for such dedicated youth whom we can inspire, they in turn should apply, and we can move forward together. It is possible.
Regarding Ayurveda, what you have mentioned, especially in the subject of health sciences, so you can see that whenever we get a we go to a hospital, the modern medicines we take, which is only 20% success rate.
Yeah.
So and the medical council is there, which authorizes the medicines and understanding. Is there really something